I was 3 seconds away from ending it all. Standing on that bridge at 3 a.m., rain soaking through my clothes, I felt nothing but emptiness. The weight of depression had crushed every dream, every hope, every reason to keep going. But what happened next changed everything. And if you're struggling right now, this story might just save your life too. My name is Sarah, and 2 years ago, I was a completely different person. I weighed 280 pounds, hadn't left my apartment in weeks, and spent every day fighting thoughts that no one should ever have to face. Today, I'm going to share the raw, unfiltered truth about how I pulled myself out of the deepest pit of depression, using nothing but my body, determination, and a promise I made to myself that night on the bridge. It started slowly, like it always does. After losing my job as a marketing manager, I told myself it was just a rough patch. I'll bounce back, I said. But days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and before I knew it, I was living in a world where getting out of bed felt like climbing Mount Everest. The depression crept in like fog rolling over a city. First, it was just feeling tired all the time. Then came the weight gain from stress eating and complete inactivity. Pizza boxes stacked up in my kitchen. Laundry piled high in every corner. I stopped answering my phone, stopped checking emails, stopped caring about anything. My bank account drained as rent and bills piled up. Friends stopped calling after months of canceled plans and ignored messages. My family lived across the country, and I was too ashamed to tell them how far I'd fallen. The mirror became my enemy. I avoided it at all costs because seeing my reflection meant facing the truth I wasn't ready to accept. The worst part wasn't the physical changes, it was the mental prison. Every morning, I'd wake up hoping to feel different, but the heaviness was always there, like carrying invisible chains that got heavier with each passing day. Simple tasks became impossible mountains. Taking a shower required hours of mental preparation. Going to the grocery store felt like preparing for war. That night in October changed everything. I'd received an eviction notice that morning. 3 months behind on rent, no job prospects. And my last remaining friend had finally given up on me. After I missed her birthday party, the third important event I skipped that year. Sitting in my dark apartment, surrounded by the mess I'd created, I made a decision. I couldn't live like this anymore. The pain was too much, the future looked too bleak. And I felt like a burden to everyone who'd ever cared about me. I walked to the bridge downtown at 3 a.m. It was raining, and the city was empty except for the occasional car passing by. Standing there, looking down at the dark water below, I felt nothing. Complete numbness. Not sadness, not fear, just an overwhelming desire for the pain to stop. But then something unexpected happened. A jogger appeared through the rain. A woman, probably in her 50s, running at 3 a.m. in this weather. She was overweight, breathing heavily, clearly struggling, but she was out there, moving, fighting. She didn't see me, didn't know what I was contemplating, but in that moment, watching her push through her own struggles, something shifted inside me. If she could fight her battles at 3 a.m. in the rain, maybe I could fight mine too. I stepped back from the edge and made myself a promise right there in the rain. Instead of ending my life, I would transform it. I gave myself 1 year. 12 months to see if I could climb out of this hole using nothing but movement, sweat, and sheer determination. The walk home from that bridge was the longest and most important walk of my life. With each step, I started planning. No gym memberships I couldn't afford. No fancy equipment. No complicated programs. Just me, my body, and the commitment to move every single day, no matter how small that movement was. I made 3 simple rules for myself. Move my body for at least 10 minutes every day, no matter how I felt. I would not skip a day. I would track my progress, not just physically but mentally. That night, I did 5 push-ups against my kitchen counter. 5 pathetic, shaky push-ups. But they were 5 more than I'd done in months. I wrote in a journal, day 1. Did 5 push-ups. Still alive. That's something. Those first weeks were hell. My body ached in ways I'd forgotten possible. After years of inactivity, even walking to the mailbox left me breathless. But I kept the promise. Every single day. Day 2, 10 push-ups against the wall and a 5-minute walk around the block. Day 3, my legs screamed, but I did it again. Day 7, I managed my first real push-up on the floor. Just one, but it was mine. The mental battle was fiercer than the physical one. Depression whispered lies every morning. You're too fat, it's too late, you'll never change, just stay in bed. But I had made a promise to that woman I saw on the bridge, to myself, to life itself. I started with bodyweight exercises in my tiny apartment. Push-ups, squats, lunges, planks. YouTube became my gym teacher. I'd follow along with free workout videos, modifying everything to match my fitness level. Some days, I could only do 5 minutes before exhaustion hit. Other days, I surprised myself with 15 minutes of movement. The scale didn't budge for weeks. In fact, it went up initially as my appetite began returning. But something else was happening. I was sleeping better. The fog in my brain started lifting just slightly. On day 21, I realized I hadn't cried that day the first time in months. Month 3 brought my first real breakthrough. I'd been doing bodyweight exercises and walking daily, slowly increasing the intensity. One morning, I decided to try jogging to the end of my street, just to the stop sign and back, maybe 200 yards total. I made it halfway before I had to walk. But the next day, I made it a little further. The day after that, a little further still. 2 weeks later, I jogged the entire route without stopping, standing at that stop sign, breathing hard but victorious. I cried tears of joy for the first time in over a year. The physical changes were becoming noticeable. I'd lost about 30 pounds by month 4, but more importantly, I could see muscle definition starting to emerge. My arms had shape again. My legs felt strong carrying me upstairs. But the mental transformation was even more dramatic. I started job hunting again. The confidence from conquering daily workouts gave me courage to face rejection, to send out resumes, to believe I had value to offer. The discipline I'd built through daily exercise translated into other areas. I began cleaning my apartment, cooking healthy meals, reaching out to old friends. Month 5 brought another challenge and breakthrough. I joined a local community center gym with a sliding scale membership fee. Walking into that gym for the first time was terrifying. I was still significantly overweight, still learning proper form, still intimidated by all the equipment. But I'd learned something powerful. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action despite fear. I started with machines, slowly progressing to free weights. I made friends with other early morning gym goers. We became an informal support network, cheering each other's victories and offering encouragement through struggles. By month 8, I was a different person entirely. I'd lost 80 pounds and gained muscle I didn't know I could build. But the physical transformation was just the surface. The real magic was happening in my mind and spirit. Exercise had become my antidepressant, my therapy, my meditation all rolled into one. Those morning workouts weren't just about burning calories or building strength. They were about proving to myself every single day that I could keep promises, overcome obstacles, and grow stronger rather than give up. I landed a new job in month 9. During the interview, they commented on my energy and positive attitude. If they only knew where I'd started. The interviewer asked about my biggest challenge and how I'd overcome it. I shared a modified version of my story, focusing on how fitness had taught me resilience and consistency. I got the job offer that afternoon. The woman I'd become was unrecognizable from the person who'd stood on that bridge. I was waking up at 5:30 a.m. excited for my workout. I was meal prepping on Sundays. I was saying yes to social invitations. I was laughing again, really laughing, from deep in my belly, the kind of laughter that makes your cheeks hurt. But the most profound change was in how I viewed challenges. Before, obstacles felt like walls designed to stop me. Now, they felt like puzzles to solve, opportunities to grow stronger. When work stress hit, instead of reaching for comfort food and isolation, I'd lace up my sneakers and run it out. It wasn't all smooth sailing. Month 10 brought a major setback when I injured my knee during a hiking trip. For 2 weeks, I couldn't do my regular routine. The depression tried to creep back in, whispering that this was the excuse I'd been looking for to quit. But I'd learned too much to give up now. I adapted. Upper body workouts while my knee healed. Swimming at the community center pool. Chair exercises. The key insight was that consistency mattered more than intensity. Moving my body every day, even in modified ways, kept the momentum alive. I also learned that fitness alone wasn't a magic cure for depression. There were still hard days, days when the motivation felt thin, days when negative thoughts crept in. But now I had tools to fight back. I'd built not just physical strength, but mental resilience. I knew that tomorrow's workout would help reset my mood, that sweat could wash away stress, that endorphins were better than any medication I'd ever tried. The injury taught me another crucial lesson: progress isn't always linear. Some days you'll be stronger, some days weaker. Some weeks you'll lose weight, others you might gain. The key is showing up consistently and trusting the process over time. Standing on that same bridge exactly 1 year later, I barely recognized the woman I'd been. I'd lost 120 pounds and gained a completely new life. But the numbers on the scale weren't the real victory, it was the person I'd become through the process. I was there for my annual anniversary run. Every month on that date, I returned to the bridge where everything changed, but now I ran to it as part of my training route. What had once been a place of despair had become a symbol of transformation. That morning, I met another woman there. She was standing where I had stood, with that same look of hopelessness I remembered so well. I approached carefully, the way that jogger had unknowingly saved my life just by existing in my moment of crisis. "Beautiful morning for a run," I said gently. She looked at me, healthy, strong, alive, and I saw something flicker in her eyes. Hope, maybe. or just curiosity about how someone could seem so content at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday. We talked for 20 minutes. I didn't share my whole story that day, but I invited her to join me for a walk. Just a short walk. She said yes, and that walk became a regular thing. She started her own fitness journey a week later. Today, she's training for her first 5K race. Here's what I learned about depression and fitness that no one tells you. It is not about the exercise itself. It's about rebuilding your relationship with yourself through kept promises. Every day that I showed up for my workout, I was proving to myself that I could be trusted. Every completed set, every finished mile, every drop of sweat was evidence that I was someone who follows through, someone who grows stronger instead of giving up, someone worth investing in. Depression lies to you constantly. It tells you you're worthless, hopeless, that nothing will ever change. But when you're dripping with sweat after a challenging workout, when your muscles are shaking from effort, when you've just done something your past self couldn't do, those lies lose their power. The gym became my laboratory for building confidence. If I could increase my deadlift by 10 pounds, maybe I could handle that difficult conversation with my boss. If I could push through the last 2 minutes of a brutal cardio session, maybe I could persist through job interviews and rejections. I became obsessed with understanding why this worked so well for me, so I researched the science. Turns out, exercise is one of the most effective treatments for depression, with studies showing it can be as effective as antidepressant medication for many people. When you exercise, your brain releases endorphins, natural mood elevators that create feelings of happiness and euphoria. But that's just the immediate effect. Long-term, regular exercise increases production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which helps build new neural pathways and can literally rewire your brain for better mental health. Exercise also reduces inflammation in the body, which research links to depression. It improves sleep quality, increases energy levels, and provides a healthy way to process stress and negative emotions. But perhaps most importantly, it gives you a sense of control and accomplishment when depression makes you feel powerless. The routine aspect was crucial too. Depression thrives in chaos and unpredictability. By creating a non-negotiable daily practice, I built structure into my life that served as an anchor when everything else felt unstable. If you're struggling with depression and thinking about trying fitness as part of your recovery, here's my practical advice: start impossibly small. I mean it if you're in a deep depression. Committing to an hour at the gym is setting yourself up for failure. Start with 5 minutes. Do 5 push-ups against the wall. Walk to the mailbox. Dance to one song in your living room. The goal is consistency, not intensity. Don't wait for motivation, it won't come when you're depressed. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. Create a routine you can do even on your worst days. For me, that was morning workouts before my brain had time to make excuses. Track your progress beyond physical changes. Yes, note weight loss and strength gains, but also track mood, energy levels, sleep quality, and confidence. On days when the scale frustrates you, you'll have other evidence of improvement. Find movement you actually enjoy. I tried yoga first, hated it. Tried Zumba, felt ridiculous. But strength training and running clicked for me. Some people love swimming, dancing, hiking, martial arts. Experiment until you find your thing. Consider it medicine, not optional. Just like you wouldn't skip taking medication prescribed by a doctor, don't skip your movement. Even if it's just stretching for 10 minutes, honor your commitment to yourself. Be patient with the process. My transformation took a full year, and I'm still evolving. Depression didn't develop overnight, and it won't disappear overnight. But every workout is a victory. Every day of consistency is building toward the person you're becoming. I know some of you are thinking, this sounds too simple, or exercise can't cure real depression. You're right, it's not a magic cure-all. I am not suggesting that fitness alone can treat severe clinical depression or replace professional help when it is needed. But for many of us struggling with depression, exercise can be a powerful tool in our recovery toolkit. It worked for me when therapy wasn't accessible and medication wasn't an option. It gave me something to focus on, a way to rebuild self-esteem, and a healthy coping mechanism. I also want to acknowledge that starting is the hardest part, especially when you're in the depths of depression. There were days I had to crawl to my workout clothes, days I cried through my entire routine, days I could barely do half of what I'd planned. That's okay. Show up anyway, even if it's messy and imperfect. Some days, your workout might just be putting on athletic clothes and sitting on the floor for 10 minutes. That still counts. You still showed up. You still kept your promise to yourself. The most beautiful part of this journey has been watching how it affected every area of my life. The confidence I built in the gym translated to asking for a promotion at work, which I got. The discipline from daily workouts helped me learn new skills, improve my relationships, and pursue hobbies I'd abandoned. I started sleeping better, which improved my decision-making and emotional regulation. I began eating better because I wanted to fuel my workouts properly. I made new friends at the gym and in running groups. I rediscovered my sense of humor and started laughing regularly again. My relationship with my family improved dramatically. They watched me transform from someone they worried about constantly to someone who inspired them to pursue their own health goals. My sister started running because of my example. My dad joined a gym for the first time in decades. But the most profound change has been in how I handle life's inevitable challenges. Job stress, relationship problems, financial worries, they still happen, but now I have a healthy way to process them. Instead of spiraling into depression, I use physical activity as a pressure release valve. 2 years later, fitness remains the cornerstone of my mental health maintenance. I'm not the same person who stood on that bridge, but I'm also not cured of depression. I think of it more like managing a chronic condition. I have tools now, habits that keep me healthy, warning signs I recognize. I still have hard days. Last month, I went through a difficult breakup and felt some of those old familiar feelings creeping back. But instead of isolating myself and spiraling, I increased my workout frequency, joined a new fitness class to meet people, and used running as therapy to process my emotions. The difference is that depression no longer feels like a life sentence. It feels like weather, sometimes stormy, but always temporary. And I have an umbrella now in the form of my fitness routine. I've become an advocate for exercise as mental health treatment, sharing my story at community events and online. I've helped dozens of people start their own fitness journeys, and watching their transformations never gets old. If this story resonates with you, if you're struggling right now, I want you to know that change is possible. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not too far gone. You are not hopeless. Start today. Start small. Start scared if you have to, but start. And if my story has inspired you, helped you, or given you hope, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. I share new content every week about fitness, mental health, and personal transformation. Your subscription helps me reach more people who might need to hear this message. Share this video with someone who needs it. Comment below with your own story or struggles. I read every single comment and respond to as many as I can. Let's build a community of people who refuse to let depression win. That night on the bridge, I thought I was choosing to end my story. Instead, I chose to begin a new chapter. The most powerful, authentic, meaningful chapter of my life. You have that choice too. Every single day, you get to decide, will you stay stuck in the story depression tells about you? Or will you start writing a new one? Your body is capable of incredible things. Your mind is stronger than you know. Your future is brighter than your current circumstances suggest. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for the perfect plan or the right motivation. Take the first step today, no matter how small. Your future self is waiting on the other side of that decision. Remember, you are stronger than you think, braver than you feel, and more loved than you know. Now go move your body. Go prove to yourself that change is possible. Go become the person you're meant to be. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep fighting, keep moving. Keep believing in yourself. Tell us which country or city you're watching from. See you in the next video. Bye.